Hi, hello, good morning. And guess where I am? I'm in my office. What I am trying to do, I am trying to finish off my thing that I was doing for Lent, which was aiming to get a collection of books by Anna Todd called the After Collection finished by Lent. But unfortunately, I am still persevering with them. In a way, it was a bit of an unrealistic expectation for me to think that I could actually read 5 books within 40 days. Um, Sorry about the sound effects, I can only apologise. All will be revealed. Um, yes, what I have decided to do instead is to persevere with updating everything on social media. I seem to have a lot of unfounded allegations made against me throughout the year at some point by somebody. And I think it's because a lot of the stuff online is outdated or it's not up to date. And because it's on social media, people have just kind of rifled through my information and then tried to use it to make assumptions as to what I actually do with my life or not with my life. And one of the things that I did, it would have been over 3 years ago now, so I do want to make sure that's all up to date, was I was on a clinical trial for Nottingham University and Warwick University because I had gestational diabetes whilst I was pregnant with all 3 of my children. And they were trying to find ways of improving women's health to prevent gestational diabetes through pregnancy, or people, having like type 2 diabetes in the future. So this clinical trial I was on was probably for 3 months in total. I had to do like a month probably 4. I had to do a month where they wanted to know what my BMI was, what my weight was, what I was eating before I took this substance. And then I had to eat or drink substance 1 with every meal, and then have a week, and then have a month off. And then I had to use substance 2 with every meal. And it was to see whether or not taking this product would help with like my BMI, my cholesterol, it would help with my sugar levels, everything basically meant, within my body. And I found it quite interesting. And it wasn't until after I did that, and it would have been December of last year, that I finally got diagnosed with bile acid malabsorption. What a relief. I have spent from the age of 16 to 39 probably spending anywhere between 1 to almost 24 hours solid in a bathroom every day. And I always found it was always around my menstrual cycle. So another thing that I thought it could be was endometriosis, which is another issue that gets undiagnosed in women for a long period of time. No pun intended there. And their attitude with the NHS was, it can't be endometriosis, because you've managed to have children, even though my children were high risk. They were early, they were what they classed as light babies, they weren't the weight they should have been when they were born. I didn't have trouble conceiving, which is something that is a bit of a taboo subject within women groups. I had a lot of friends who did have trouble conceiving around, who are the same age as me. But the one thing that, until I actually found out what I really had wrong with me, that has always been a taboo subject, is anything to do with the digestive system. I've had to be tested for cancer. That was about 4 years ago now. I got tested for that. I have to constantly have blood tests. I'm supposed to have them every 3 to 6 months. And for years and years and years, it was, it's IBS, it's irritable bowel syndrome, change your diet, do this, do that, and it wasn't until everything else finally got ruled out that I finally got diagnosed with bile acid malabsorption. Now, prior to that, I had a lot of digestive problems. I kept getting told it was acid reflux. I kept getting told it was this, it was that, if I lowered my stress, if I improved my diet, which some of these things can help, don't get me wrong. I ended up having my gallbladder out the same year my first son was born. That was 8 years ago. And for about a year, my health improved tremendously after my gallbladder was removed. Prior to that, I was constantly in and out of hospital with abdominal pains, chest pains, suffering with heartburn, severe indigestion, you name it. I dealt with it from the age of 16. The amount of sick days I had off work was just unbelievable. People would just say I was lying, and then they would not want to pay me. I went through hell through work, and if anything, that made it worse. So if anyone who knows me from work is listening or viewing any of my YouTube videos, shame on you is all I can say. And, you know, I know the human body can have so many health problems with it, but to accuse your staff of lying about being sick, I'm not a hypochondriac, which is another thing I did get accused of. I'm not one of these people that wants to be ill. And I hate the fact that now I'm so debilitated by my illness that this is my life. This bathroom here that I'm sitting in right now. And anyone who has bile acid malabsorption or is suffering with any digestive problems, even things like Crohn's disease or colitis or anything like that, will tell you that it is hell. You know, there's so many different illnesses that can be debilitating, but when you physically cannot leave a toilet because your condition is that severe, yes, we are given medication. You have to make sure you're given the right medication. It doesn't always work. Prevention is better than cure. That is it. That's all we're told. You know, oh, you've got cancer, but we can give you chemotherapy and it might work. Or, oh, my head hurts. Okay, take some paracetamol. And then with my dad, he finds out it's a brain tumour. You know, worst case scenario. Wouldn't wish that on anybody. But when you're 16 years old and you are literally having to go to the toilet anywhere between 1 to 18 times a day, that is not normal. Okay, and that is what I have lived with, and I am almost 40 now. I understand after you've had children, your body changes, you know, things happen in your life, and, you know, with older age, and, you know, you get wrinkles, and your boobs sag, and, you know, your body changes. That's just part of life. But nobody from the age of 16 should have to live with what I lived with. I used to work outdoors. My boss was amazing. But what he didn't know was how much medication I used to have to take just so I could physically work for him on a daily basis. I just didn't tell him. And part of me regrets not telling him because he was probably the best boss I ever had. But then when I started working indoors again, because there were toilet facilities, to be penalised for having to go to the toilet during your shift at work is disgusting. I was literally having to take Imodium every single day of my life, and basically that's what I've been told I've got to continue to do. So the Department of Work and Pensions attitude was, well, there's nothing wrong with you then. You're taking drugs that you can just get over the counter. No, that's because there is no cure. You know, I can be given all this medication in the world, but if I don't take it, I'm on the toilet. But then you need to go to the toilet. Sorry, there's just a pen dropping on the floor. Because your body needs to get rid of waste. That's the whole point of going to the toilet, is to get rid of toxins and waste in your body that you do not need. So the longer you keep that in your body, you're ineffective. You're poisoning yourself. I've always had bad skin. You can probably see, like I said, I'm always 40. I've always had spots. I've never been able to get rid of them. I am a picker, I will admit. One of my nervous tics is that I constantly scratch my skin when I'm suffering with anxiety, which doesn't help. But again, I get spots on my arms, I get them on my legs, I get them on my back, I get them everywhere. And one of the reasons probably is due to the buildup of toxins in my liver or in my digestive system, because my body can't get rid of them when I take my medication. It's because it's being stored for longer. But when I don't take my medication, I have the opposite effect, where my body isn't able to withhold the necessary nutrients that I need for a daily basis, which then means that I'm tired, I'm lethargic, I can't concentrate, I feel hungry all the time, I feel thirsty all the time, because I'm dehydrated because of passing so much water. And it's really, really, really horrible to live with. So I'm going to try and do a bit of a documentary about this condition, even if it's just like a week in a life of somebody with bile acid malabsorption. I don't know yet. But I do feel that a little bit more about this condition needs to be highlighted, and it's not. And at the same time, I mean, I don't want people to get like paranoid and think, oh my God, I've got bile acid malabsorption, I need to go to the hospital. But I do think it's something you need to maybe talk to your GP about if you do have issues with your bowel or, your digestive system. It could be one of the issues that you have. So I'm going to leave it there for now. I have done some other videos. I just haven't had time to put them on to the YouTube yet. I am also trying to blog as well, but with podcast. But what I've found with the podcast thing is that you can only click one category to cast about. And so one of the things I have started doing more now that, I am in the bathroom practically every day of the week is reading. And again, the issue is, well, you've got dyslexia, how can you read? Well, yeah, I can read, it's just it takes me forever to read. So I'm going to try and look at doing maybe more Audible books in the future. I don't know yet. It's not something I've ever used or anything I've tried or anything that's ever been recommended to me in the past. So I have two options. When I'm stuck in the bathroom all the time, I can either, have my phone with me, which I have today, or I can try and do something a little bit more constructive to pass the time whilst my body does what it needs to do. But anyway, so anyone who obviously views these videos, please, I would love some feedback. It'd be very much appreciated, because I think one of the main problems with bile acid malabsorption is there are support groups out there, and I have included them in some of my blogs that I've done, and also on social media, like Facebook and things. But if you're in a situation where you constantly need to go to the toilet, how on earth would you drive to a support group or go to a support group to talk to people? So a lot of the support you actually do get is never face-to-face. It's always online. So probably this morning, if I was to go on the bile acid malabsorption support group on Facebook, there would probably already be like over 400 posts from people who have gone, I've been put on this new medication, does it work? Oh, I've had to clean the car again. I took my child to the park and I had an accident, and it's, you don't want to kind of say, yeah, I've been there, done that, I've got the t-shirt, because this condition affects everybody differently. There isn't one shoe fits all sort of thing, like with medication or with what not to eat or what not to drink. But at the same time, like I said, it is so debilitating. And I think the only kind of relief you get is that you've finally been told what's wrong with you. And up until the point when you don't have a proper medical diagnosis, you are literally like hanging on by your fingernails thinking, how am I going to get through another hour? How am I going to get through another day of living like this, not knowing what's wrong? Is it something I've done? Is there something I can do to stop this happening? And then the bottom line is there isn't. not everybody with this condition has had their gallbladder removed. And I think the worst issue that I've read about was a young woman, I'm going to say young woman because I'm almost 40, I don't know how old she was, who had to go to hospital because her body produced so much bile acid. This is not a lie, this is actually true, that it was burning her internally. She went to the toilet and she had to go to hospital. She was bleeding from her rectum because her body produced that much bile acid that when it came out of her body, she was literally, it was just acid coming out of her. And she had blisters on her skin, on her, like, her bum from doing that. I've had it myself. It is horrible. I'll have a bath, and then, like, if I've put anything in the bath, like certain shampoo or conditioner or bath salts, and because there's still traces of that still on my skin, when I've then gone to the toilet, it's like my backside is on fire, because the pH level of the waste coming out of me mixes with whatever's on my skin at the time, and it, oh my god, it is like I'm on fire. It is horrible. And one of the key symptoms of seeing whether you do have bile acid malabsorption is that your feces is actually yellow, and it stinks to high heaven. It's horrible because of the sulfur, and you do suffer with a lot of flatulence or wind, if that's what you want to call it. So hopefully, I mean, I know I'm waffling a little, I can only apologise. So I will try and persevere with this, and if anyone has any questions or queries, then I can try and advise you. Well, not advise, recommend, maybe. I don't really know what word to use, because I don't want to, like, be giving people misinformation. I guess the only thing I can do is say, well, this is the link to the Bile Acid Malabsorption Association. Any questions or queries, contact them, and they should be able to assist. So thank you very much for your time, and like I said, if you do have any questions or queries, please let me know.